Hi everybody, welcome to our very last day of Compassion Camp. But even though we're having our last day of camp, you know, compassion goes on and on and on. All right, so we learned, a little recap on our last day, that compassion starts with empathy. I see, I feel, I want to help, whether it's to help ease your pain or help celebrate your joy with you. We also know that compassion begins with seeing so that we can welcome all people, friends, family, neighborhood, greater community, welcoming to our own table, welcoming to the Lord's table, welcoming them wherever. We know that compassion helps us to be brave, to stand up, to step up, to help somebody. And we can do that individually. We can do it as a team if you need a little bit of adult help. Compassion helps us to be brave. We heard on the third day that compassion is certainly all about love. Not only, as Jesus said in the greatest commandment, loving God and loving our neighbors as ourselves, but loving ourselves, taking care of us, because when we take care of ourselves, we can show even more compassion to other people. Yesterday, our fourth day, we heard that compassion is all about being present, being there for somebody, being that person, seeing their and knowing what they're feeling and helping them, and really being in tune to what's going on, really being focused. And so that brings us to our last and final day today. So this whole week, this whole experience was really new for you and for me, and it really has me overwhelmed. But it has me overwhelmed with such a feeling of joy, because I felt like it was a really fun experience. I had fun doing it. I hope you had fun doing it too. And I'm so overwhelmed with joy at how many of you joined us, whether you did it the whole week or whether you're doing it little by little as it fits into your schedule. I am overwhelmed with joy. It means my heart is full. But sometimes we feel overwhelmed in other ways, bad ways, ways that doesn't make us feel so comfortable. Maybe, think about your life, maybe you've been overwhelmed with homework. Maybe you are overwhelmed with your busy schedule, going to school, going to practice, going here, going there. Maybe you're overwhelmed with things that are happening at home. Maybe you're overwhelmed with all the things that are that's happening today. The fact that you're maybe not seeing your friends. You don't know what's going to happen with school. And sometimes it makes us come down. Being overwhelmed can feel kind of unhappy at times. But when I get to points like that where I feel so overwhelmed, I think I just want to start over. Start a new day. And the wonderful thing, and you'll find this today in our story, is every day you do get a fresh start. So today's story and today's theme is all about fresh starts and understanding that we all have feelings of overwhelmed happiness or overwhelmed sadness. And if we feel that way, other people in our community do too. So we are trying to show compassion for our whole world and understanding how everybody's feeling. So with further ado, let's get to our last Compassion Camp prayer, and then we'll get to the story. So like we've been doing, one hand on your head, one hand on your heart, because compassion starts in the brain and we feel it in the heart. You can repeat after me if you'd like. Joyful Spirit, your loving hands are always helping to give us fresh starts. Help us do the same today by caring for all living things with gentleness and care. Make our hearts smile and our actions sing as we show compassion toward the whole world. Amen. So stay tuned. We have our last story for VBS coming up next. So our fifth day of story, and you're probably wondering, who is our last guest surprise storyteller? Well, without further ado, let me introduce you to the person for today's story. Are you ready? Are you really ready? It's me. So some of you who've come to VBS for a while, you know that I've been doing story for a long time. So I wanted to get a shot to give you the story as well, because I have definitely missed it this year. So today, our story, also like the other day, it's not necessarily a story from the Bible. It's from a storybook called Molina's Jubilee. But Jubilee is something that a lot of us actually have not heard of very much. And it is a story from the Bible. And Jubilee is all about when Moses was leading the Israelites to freedom, and God told Moses that there was going to be a Sabbath or a rest. And during this Jubilee, they were going to stop working. They were going to have a rest. Any money, debts, property that went away was going to be regiven, families reunited, and it was going to be a celebration and a new, fresh start. And so Jubilee is it's a special time. And for my older friends, my 4th, 5th, 6th graders that are joining us, I give you an extra challenge into examining Jubilee and what it means to people even today. Check that out. But we're going to read the story of Molina's Jubilee. I'm going to read it. It all has to do with fresh starts, having a new redo every day, no matter how the day went the day before, even if it was yucky or sad or tiring. You get a new start every day. So the pictures will be on the screen for you to follow along. And this is Molina's Jubilee. I woke up this morning with a song in my heart and looked out my window. The night rain had washed away our chalk drawings, but I didn't mind. The sidewalk was clean, and that meant we could start over. This morning, I remembered to make my bed. Yesterday, I forgot. Yesterday, I also forgot to put my toys away, and when Grandma's friend came over, he tripped on one and banged into the table. That's how my mother's favorite vase got broken. It seemed like everyone was mad at me. This morning, when I crept into the kitchen and slipped into my seat, Grandma winked at me. Mama set down my breakfast and kissed the top of my head. "Does this mean you're not mad at me anymore?" I asked them. "I never let the sun go down on my anger," Grandma said. "Today's a new day, Molina," Mama added, "and that means you've got a fresh start. After work, I'm going to stop at the store to get some glue. Maybe this evening you can help me fix my vase." After breakfast, I told Grandma about the song in my heart. She put the dishes in the sink and began running the water. Steam and bubbles drifted up towards my grandmother's pretty face. "I feel that way some days," she said. "Some days I wake up feeling like I'm brand new." She chuckled. "And that's a pretty special feeling for an old lady like me." I chuckled too and told Grandma that today felt like the first page of a brand new book. "Well, what are you planning to write on that first page?" she asked me. I told her I wasn't sure. When we finished the dishes, I called my best friend Helen and told her to meet me outside. On my way out, I passed behind my older brother, Miles. I thought about the time last week when he snuck up behind me and whacked me over the head with his tennis racket. Now, I had a chance to pay him back. I thought about how surprised Miles would be when the heavy cushion from the sofa went whoomp upside his head. But then I remembered that this was my fresh start day. And pounding Miles didn't seem like such a good idea. After all, he'd only hit me back, and Miles hits hard. So I left him alone and went outside. Helen was standing on the sidewalk. She looked upset. "What's wrong?" I asked. "The poem I wrote about the rainbow got washed away," said Helen. "So write a new poem," I suggested. Helen knelt down and started drawing a flower instead. I took a piece of chalk and wrote, "There is a song in my heart." "What's your song about?" Helen asked. "I'm not sure," I said, "but it makes me want to celebrate." Helen stopped drawing. "Celebrate what?" I looked around. I don't know, maybe the sun or those trees over there. We could celebrate flowers and birds. We could even celebrate being friends. Helen rolled her eyes. "Whatever you say, Molina." I hummed softly to myself. When it was time for lunch, we went inside. "Grandma's out back," Miles mumbled with his mouth full of food. Helen and I looked out the back door and saw Grandma digging in her garden. "Are you girls hungry?" she called to us. Helen and I nodded. Suddenly, I had an idea. "Grandma, why don't we eat the things that are growing in your garden?" Grandma pushed back her sun hat and studied me for a minute. Then she shrugged, picked up her basket, and started telling us what to pick. We had the most delicious lunch. When we finished eating, Grandma gave us some money. Helen and I ran outside and followed the tinkling tune of the ice cream truck. Up the block, we saw Gavin and his twin brothers. Helen tugged my arm. "Hey, Mel, Gavin owes you $1, remember?" I remembered. I loaned it to him last week at the pizza shop. Gavin never gets to buy anything for himself. He always has to share with his little brothers. When we reached the truck, Helen tugged my arm again. "Hey, tell Gavin you want your money back," she whispered. "Then we can get double swirl cones." Gavin was counting coins in the palm of his hand. He looked up and smiled at us. "Hey, Molina. Hey, Helen." On any other day, I would have told Gavin I wanted my money back. But today was my fresh start day. "Let's pool our money," I suggested. "That way we can buy a hot fudge sundae and split it 5 ways. 5 ways, gasped Helen. The twins started jumping up and down. "Sprinkles, sprinkles," they cried. Gavin stared at the coins in his hand. "I'm not sure, Molina." "Well, I am," I said. We carried our hot fudge sundae over to the park and dug in. Then we spread out on the top of the jungle gym and took turns pointing out funny-shaped clouds. After a while, we got quiet. Then Gavin said, "Have you ever thought about the sun?" "What about it?" I asked. "Well," said Gavin, "there's only one sun that shines on everybody in the world, no matter where you live or how you look or how much money you have. Sunshine's free for everyone," said Helen. "I never thought of it that way," I said. We got quiet again. I closed my eyes and felt the sun beaming down on me. I began to hum softly at first, but Gavin heard me and joined in. "Is that the song in your heart?" asked Helen. I nodded and kept on humming. "What's it about?" asked Gavin. "Oh, lots of things," I said. "It's about waking up to a blue sky and finding out you've been forgiven. It's about free sunshine and the tasty things that grow in my grandmother's garden. But mostly, it's about having a chance to start all over again every single day." So our story was about fresh starts. Every day you get a chance to have a new fresh start and make it a better day than it was before. At the end of this, we're going to put a link for 7 things. You're going to see 7 things that you can do to have your very own fresh start day. But for now, before we leave and go to music, I want you to do this little focus exercise with me. It's called "Today I'm Going to Be," and you answer that question. So first, take a long breath in. Let it all the way out. And hold your body still. Think about how you want the rest of your day to go. Pick a good word to finish this sentence in your mind. Today, I'm going to be. Maybe you finish it with friendly, or kind, or helpful, or compassionate. Choose a good word that you like to finish that sentence. And when you pick your word, if you want to, tell a grown-up about it. Remember your word and do your best to make it happen. Stay tuned for music with Mr. Yenser next.
Hi, girls and boys. We've been talking all day today about having a fresh start, a new start every day. And our song, Put On Love, talks about that. It talks about putting on love every day. So no matter what happened yesterday, it doesn't matter. We start each day anew, and each day we start again to try to put on love in everything that we do and everywhere that we go. Let's sing our song. You ready? Put on love every day. Never hide your love away. Don't save love for a special day. Just put on love every day. D-Day. Put on love every day. Let's put on love with our clothes. First, our sneakers. Ready? Put on love with your sneakers. Put on love with your old blue jeans. Put on love with your fancy clothes. Just put on love every day. D-Day. Put on love every day. Where can we put on love? Everywhere we go. Let's try playground. Ready? Put on love at the playground. Put on love at the swimming pool. Put on love at the dinner table. Put on love every day. D-Day. Put on love every day. One more time. Put on love every day. Never hide your love away. Don't save love for a special day. Just put on love every day. D-Day. Put on love every day. Great job, everyone. Now remember to stay tuned. There's more VBS to come.
Hey, so we have one last craft to do today, and that is for our day about compassion with the world. We heard about fresh starts when things are overwhelming or going too fast, and so we are going to actually sprinkle little bits of seeds of compassion with what we're calling a seed bomb today. So we start first, and this is a step that you might want to do a little early in the day or right from your start, because there is 20 minutes that need to pass. But you have a baggie of recycled scraps, shreds of paper. And so you're going to want to take those shreds of paper, put it in a bowl. And I have a little bit too much. I don't need to do that much. And after you have your bits in there, you want to pour water so that the whole blob of all that paper is totally covered in water. And then once you have it in there, you want to set a timer for 20 minutes. This shredded paper needs to soak for 20 minutes. Put that aside, and then we'll get to the next part after that. So after you let your shredded paper soak for 20 minutes, your hands are gonna get a little wet, so maybe you wanna have a tablecloth under you or some old newspaper, but you wanna squeeze out, give your fingers some muscles, and squeeze out any extra water that you can out of those strips. Squeeze them out. And I am adding it, as I squeeze, I'm adding it to my little blender food processor. And that's what you're gonna need next, is either a blender or a food processor of some sort, because you're going to actually take these strips of paper and make pulp. This is gonna be a little loud, but I have my squeezed out paper there. I put it in. Once you've done that, you're gonna empty out your paper that's now kind of shredded. If you get any bigger chunks like that, you're gonna wanna remove them. But I have my pulp, and this is some flower seeds. I'm gonna mix them all in there so that the flower seeds are mixed in with the pulp. And then I'm gonna use my little hands to squeeze and roll and pat these together as best I can.
I'm going to put them on my little space to dry. I'm going to try to gather up some of those seeds in that damp pulp paper. And as many as I can get out of here is how many bombs I'm going to make. Once you have these seed bombs made, you're going to want to put this tray or paper in a nice, safe, dry, warm spot so that the paper bombs that have the little flower seeds in can dry. And once, that's about a full day. You want to have them sitting for a whole day somewhere. And once you have those and they're all dry, they are ready to either be planted by you and sprinkle your little seeds of compassion that we've learned all about during our camp here. Or you can wrap them in a nice piece of tissue paper and give them to a neighbor or a friend to help spread those seeds of compassion.
Hi everybody, day 5, yoga. It's Miss Melissa. Oh, wait, that's not Miss Melissa. Who is that? That's actually my daughter, Kate. She's gonna take you through your yoga posing today with me narrating. So begin by sitting on the floor, legs crossed into that crisscrossed applesauce position. We're gonna take 3 breaths. Before we take our breath in, we're gonna say, I am a part. Take a breath in, a breath out, and we're going to finish by saying of God's balance and fresh starts. So I am a part, deep breath in, exhale it out, of God's balance and fresh starts. One more time. I am a part, inhale in, exhale it out, of God's balance and fresh starts. So from our seated position, you're going to slowly rise into a mountain pose. Feet firmly planted on the ground. Kate's going to turn so that she can be seen from the side. And in mountain pose, we feel our strength and we are unshakable. From mountain pose, we're going to reach our arms to the sky. Fold and bend at the hips and reach down into a forward fold. Touch your feet and look up. Forward facing, preparing our eyes and focusing forward. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Hands down onto the ground. From that forward fold, jump both legs back or step them back into a plank, little lower plank. Good. When you're ready, lower all the way to the ground. Straighten your arms and stretch your upward body. Head toward the sky into upward facing dog. Hold and breathe in, breathe out. We welcome the sun and we welcome with courage what this day holds for us. From upward facing dog, lower your body back down to the ground and then push your hips up to that downward facing dog. Now here's where we're going to add on. Take your right leg, that's your shake that leg, and bring it forward into a lunge position. When you're balanced, reach your hands up to the sky to a warrior 1 pose. Now square your shoulders so that you are facing one way. Stretch out, arms out wide. And in this warrior 2 pose, we open up our arms, stay right there in that warrior 2. We open our arms to make room for everyone and everything. We stretch to see what's beyond us. Now we're going to go and put our arms to the ground. Bring that other foot back, downward facing dog. Now we're going to raise our other leg and step it forward into lunge, foot between your hands. Raise your upper body to the sky, chest and face forward, warrior 1 on the other side. Turn so that your arms are out wide, parallel to the ground for our warrior 2. In our warrior 2, stay nice and balanced. And we open our arms to make, stay right there, to make room for everyone and everything. We stretch to see what's beyond us. Before we leave, take a big breath in, blow it out. Hands down to the ground, foot back,
downward facing dog. Push those hips up. And from the downward facing dog, jump both your feet towards your hands. Roll it all up till you're standing in that mountain pose again. Now turn and face me. Here's a tricky one. This is going to require balance. Standing in your mountain pose, put all your weight onto one leg, get your balance. And then with the other foot, you're going to rest that foot on the inside of your ankle or your calf, or even your inner thigh. Toes should point down to the ground. When you're there and balanced, take your hands and bring them to prayer right at the heart. Focus your eyes forward. You are now in a tree pose. Tree pose teaches us to be patient, steady, and balanced. Lower that foot to the ground. Now shift your weight to the other foot and start by on your ankle or on your calf or even up to your inner thigh. When you have your balance, reach up, prayer hands at your heart, stay balanced, focus your eyes on a still point and balance in that tree pose. Try and hold for 3 big breaths. You ready? Take 1 breath in and out. Take another breath in and out. And can you do it for 1 more? In and out. Lower your foot back to the ground. Stand in mountain pose. Reach your arms up to the sky. Then draw them into prayer form right by your heart. Say namaste. And remember that namaste can mean the light in me sees the light in you. Thanks for joining us for yoga. Stay tuned for closing remarks.
So our last day has come to an end. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope that it was fun enough, despite the fact that we weren't together and you had to do this from home. But I had fun. I hope you did too. I hope you learned a little bit. Stories in the Bible about compassion, how we can show compassion for ourselves, for our family, for the world, and be spreading that. Maybe you can put your seeds of compassion into your community and share that compassion and kindness and love with everybody that you meet. In closure, so before you hit the stop button on this video, stay tuned to the end because there were a whole lot of people that helped to put this VBS together, from the people that you saw on the screen helping with the stories to all the people that helped with things off of the camera, from preparations with the crafts, for technical things, because this was a very technological VBS experience. So make sure you take note of those people. And also, one last thing, I want to just point out my shirt here. Some of you might be familiar with this shirt. This is for my pal Charlotte. It says Charlotte Strong. And hopefully in all of the things that we talked about with compassion, you can learn to bravely and compassionately pray for people in need. And Charlotte is one of our friends from our preschool. She's a VBS alumni, meaning she went to VBS at Atonement before, and she's not feeling so hot these days. And so we want to pray for her recovery, pray for her well-being. So keep her in mind. A little shout out to our friend Charlotte. And so that's a wrap. And don't forget, we'll still take Helping Harvest VBS donations through even next week. So if you have a monetary donation or you want to drop off a non-perishable item, we will accept it through next week before we take that to Helping Harvest or Bethany Lutheran Church here in White Missing to donate to their food pantry. So thank you to all for being a part of our VBS. Share compassion with others, my friends. It's the way to be. It's the way God wants us to live. Have a great one. See you soon.